Welcome to Cloud Meets Hybrid, the automation talks powered by XOAP. I'm Mario, and today we talk about cloud sovereignty in Europe and what it means for trust and compliance. What a special look at the AWS European Sovereign Cloud. My guest today, Tobias Tomandl from Ingram Micro, well known in the AWS community and the speaker at different AWS community events. Tobias, great to have you here.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Thanks. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be in your podcast today, Mario. Yes. So
Looking forward to this podcast together here.
cool.
Tobias, but for those who don't know you yet, what do you do at Ingram Micro? What do you blog about in the AWS world? And why is sovereignty a big topic for you, especially right now?
Okay. Yeah, good question. Yeah, at Ingram Micro, I'm working as a senior pre-sales consultant for AWS since around 2.5 years. And we as Ingram Micro, we are AWS distributor. And I am the techie, and my role is I'm doing many things in my role, but one big portion is really enablement. Enablement of AWS partners here, especially in the German and also in the DACH region. And enablement right now is also about sovereignty. There are so many discussions since around half a year or 1 year, where even our German Nancy Faeser recently said, hey, think about your digitals, about your cloud strategy. Is it really wise to put all your data in US clouds? And this brought the discussion up, And then the US election, with the current government also was a big portion which brought this into discussion here.
Good points. Definitely, we'll go more in deep in this, everything what you say. But to what kind of community work you are doing? You are blogging about different things, not maybe only ECS, maybe also different things.
I think in my position, it's a bit unique because I'm enabling at Ingram Micro, in my position every day AWS partners, but also private, the private Tobias also is a AWS Community Builder, and I'm also attending user groups, mainly in Nuremberg, where I'm located from, but also got invited to other user groups. Like recently I was in Frankfurt and talked about the European Sovereign Cloud. But this is not the only thing. We have different formats, different formats of enablement. So it can be, as just said, user groups, but it can also be some immersion days. It can be some events or pre-evening events to AWS events, for instance. We had this in the past. Also the blog. I started my blog, I think last year or beginning of last year. Unfortunately, I do not have the time as everybody who starts with blogging, to provide regularly some good quality articles. But nevertheless, it's there. And every article I write, for me, the quality is more important than the quantity.
Great.
But also white papers, for instance. But this is then the Ingram Tobias. I'm writing technical white papers, and this all comes in to the enablement portion of my doing.
Cool. Yep. We will share also the links to everybody later on so that everybody can follow you. But what is cloud sovereignty really? Let's define terms in simple words, maybe. What is the difference between cloud sovereignty, data protection, and data residency? Why is sovereignty more than just keep data in the EU?
Okay. Many questions. I start slowly. So digital sovereignty is the big thing, the big topic, and digital sovereignty consists, in my point of view, in data sovereignty and operational sovereignty. Those are the two categories. And when it comes to data sovereignty, there are also 2 points existing, and the first point is data residency. This was what you just asked for. This is really, so where is my data stored? Yeah, where's my data stored? Is it stored in one data center? And what might happen if this one data center crashes, or is it replicated across multiple data centers? Is this in one country? Is this within European Union? Is this in USA? So you need to have the power to control this. Yeah, and this is, in my point of view, data residency. AWS brings so many options that you can select where you want to store your data, but it depends on the service. For instance, with Amazon S3, with a well-known object storage, you can select, I want to have it stored in Frankfurt. And when you select this, you can even also select, I want to have it just in one availability zone. So availability zone is multiple data centers within a very near reach. But you can also say you want to have it spread across availability zones. So really highly durable, 9 nines durability. So the files which are in S3 really stay in S3. So this is data residency. And for sure, the requirements are that you can control this even more and more and more. Yes.
Okay, great. You do also a nice transition in your wording right now to AWS European Sovereign Cloud, ESC.
Yep.
What's new there? AWS announced a separate focus cloud, often called the European Sovereign Cloud. What makes it different from all other normal AWS regions?
Yeah. The big difference is really that also it is separated. It is a separate partition. So partition is the magic keyword, which is also used in AWS naming and presentations. So right now we have, I think, 52 AWS regions or something like this. I do not know the number exactly. And in these regions, it's from Madrid and Frankfurt and so on. You can select wherever you want. Yeah, there are also in America multiple regions on the eastern side, west coast, and so on. But it is still one AWS partition. This means there are some global services. In every AWS partition, there are some global services existing. And one global service, for instance, is the Identity and Access Management, IAM, how we name it. But one global service is also the usage metering. So the billing, also the tagging, the metadata. This is right now in AWS, as we all know it, just in America. This is just one instance of this stuff existing. The same applies to, for instance, to CloudFront and so on. So additional AWS services. And the problem is, and we have seen the problem 2 days ago when we had a bigger AWS outage, that there is a huge influence. So if these global services are affected, and 2 days ago they have been technically affected, it might also be that they are affected by the government. Yeah, you know this discussion. We all know this discussion. There are fears existing in Germany or in whole Europe. Yeah, what happens if the president of USA if he goes in this direction and says, hey, we throw you out from our US clouds, and something in this direction might happen, maybe happen. And this is a problem. Being within one partition with the European Sovereign Cloud, we have a separate partition. And this is really unique. It is not new for AWS because also the NSA and also in China, and we have separate partitions, but those partitions are really, let's say, somehow special. But the European Sovereign Cloud, it will be a partition where everybody from everywhere can create accounts. So it will be open to the world. And in this partition, we have our own identity and access management. We have our own billing. We have own metadata. The metadata is kept in Brandenburg area. So this is really completely separated. And it goes for sure also further. but I think, yeah, this will be maybe part of the next questions. So AWS is doing so many things that they really build a completely separated cloud
That's
on various levels. Yeah.
That's really amazing. And we never talked about the transcript here, and you were talking and make a great transition also to the next two topics at all. First of all, yeah, you said it, AWS is doing different things, but what kind of signal does this send to governments, to regular industries and enterprises across Europe? Is this really a game changer, or something that changed the market, or it's just maybe branding? How do you think in a long term and alignment things, what will change with this for EU customers especially?
There is some uniqueness as well with the European Sovereign Cloud, and this is important to understand and to know. And after this is known, I will answer your question. And this is, for instance, the operational autonomy. So in the European Sovereign Cloud, only EU residents will work from AWS side, and they have to be inside the EU that they can log in. So this means everybody will have a working contract also with the EU companies, in specific with the German GmbH. So the whole law construct, yeah, is really built that it's separate and independent. Even if there is a connection drop, yeah, in the worst case scenario, and the AWS US cloud is no longer existing, or no longer reachable for us in the in EU, then the operation will continue. The stuff will continue running. We have a complete independent governance structure. We have really operations which continues. And also in Europe, we have a replica of the source code of all services existing. So this is really unique. And what is also unique is because also other cloud hyperscalers are working on sovereign clouds. But the definition of sovereignty, yeah, what is sovereignty and what needs to be done that it's really completely independent and sovereign. And AWS is working together with the BSI in Germany here. I do not know the English word.
I think there is no really English word for the BSI.
Yes, might be. Exactly. And they are working with them together really to build the standards, because a real sovereign European cloud is not existing. Yeah, and AWS is working together with the BSI to define the standards. What does it mean? What is required to be completely sovereign? And this is AWS doing here. For sure, we can also go deeper than in the subsidiaries, in the German GmbH, and all this stuff. But I think first of all, I will answer your question. Mario, can you please repeat? I've talked too much.
Yes, of course. Why it matters for EU customers? Is this a game changer across Europe for governance, regular industries, or also for enterprises across Europe, not only specific locations? Or it's just more or less branding? But I think you answered it with a lot of details. What does it mean with long-term commitment to Europe, that the locations are in Europe, alignments, and also the moves beyond data in EU, that it's in a strong combination with the BSI. I think that answered it pretty well.
Yes. So we really think, and I'm in contact with many AWS partners, and I'm in networking, in speaking with so many AWS users. And I think the European Sovereign Cloud is done right. What AWS is doing here is the correct thing. It really allows a full separation, and this is the important thing, the full autonomy of this partition. So this is very, very important. And so I think many persons are waiting for it. I think technically it is often not required, because AWS offers so many sovereignty controls. Yeah, what I told a few minutes ago was just a portion of about the digital sovereignty. It's much more, and AWS offers so many possibilities for instance, for key management, there are so many options, completely customer managed keys and even on certified, on the highest level external key stores. So it is even today possible to run really highly regulated workloads on AWS. But what it comes now in with the ESC is also the trust factor on my point of view. So it is a promise. It is guaranteed that it is separated. And this is really, I think, where many in Germany, there are many Mittelstand and SMB end customers existing who say, hey, I do not want to go to cloud. This is US based and not under my control. And exactly those are really interested in. And for instance, at the user group in Nuremberg, where I had a talk about the European Sovereign Cloud a few weeks ago, many customers came, for instance, from a health insurance company, and this person had nothing to do with AWS. He just said, hey, I'm interested in the sovereignty, and we also have the discussions and internally and so on. So many persons hear loud what we do here. Yeah,
definitely. And you answered again the next question. That's pretty great. EU only operations and practice. I will just summarize it. EU-based personnel for ops and support, clear break glass and escalations procedures inside of the European Union. And that is one small piece of what it's delivering, what you say already.
Yes.
Then I will directly move forward with something you said in the very beginning. Legal worries. US laws, politics, and the big what if. Many leaders ask, what if US laws or politics change? How does AWS addresses concerns like external territorial access, and how does the European Sovereign could help at this point? What's your thought?
About the technical things, I have talked, I think, already in detail. Where I now want to talk is really about the governance structure of the European Sovereign Cloud. And it is really the case that we have, as the mother company, we will have a parent company, and this is a German GmbH. And the CEO of this will be Katrin Renz. This is also a German person, and this is really a German company, German GmbH. And the interesting thing is now the following: everybody who works for this European Sovereign Cloud has really a contract with this German GmbH, and it's also written in there that they have to follow German or EU law, and this is the law. This is the legislation which is required for everybody who is working there, from the leader I just named, Katrin, to the support engineer from AWS side. So they have to follow German law. AWS has built 3 subsidiaries. So under this mother company, the one is the infrastructure subsidiary, and this is really for the data centers. So also the data centers and everything which belongs to it is completely separated. It's in this separate subsidiary. The next is the research and development subsidiary, how it's called. I think the names are outstanding. It will be announced hopefully the next weeks and months. And in this R&D subsidiary, all personnel is working. So they have the contracts with this subsidiary. And as I just said, if there is a clinch in legislation, if AWS US says, hey, please do this, but it's not according German or EU law, then they will not do it. But I come to this in a second. The third subsidiary is the trust certificate subsidiary. So what is also for sure very important is if there is the AWS console as we know right now. When you want to log in, it has an ending .com. But for sure, it might happen that also changes in America, for instance, will reject the access to this. This means also the .com is not IANA. This is not controlled from EU. This is controlled everything from US. So AWS goes such far that they say we have our own DNS registry, our own Route 53 in Germany, in Europe. We have our own root CA that the US cannot reject our certificates. We have our own domain. It will end with .eu. For the everything which is related to. So it's really completely separated. But also means on the other side, for sure, if you want to have a connection from ESC cloud to the normal AWS cloud, this is completely separated. It is like a connection from Azure to AWS.
That's true.
So this is true. Important thing is really also so this was the subsidiaries, how it's built up from the governance structure. What is also very important to highlight is that there will be an advisory board as well on the top level. And this advisory board will exactly address those topics if it's really unclear. If there are really cases, for instance, for one customer, US law wants to have via law enforcement, they want to have the data from this account or the metadata from this account or the billing data or the login data or whatever. And then really this advisory board will come in to the discussion, and they will really decide if this request is really according to EU law, if it's really according to DE law, and if this is really what should be done. There will also be a security leader. It's quite similar role. So just supporting the managing director to have really this gremiums existing where those clinches might happen, that there's really a board which can decide on what is the right thing. What is the right thing for the European Sovereign Cloud, not for AWS now. Yeah.
Yeah, that describes it pretty good and brings me to another question. Yeah, that's everything what AWS is doing and preparing and building up. But now many CIOs compare European providers maybe with hyperscalers, with sovereignty offers. Where are the trade-offs on service breed ecosystems to another providers like Stackit, Hetzner, or whatever?
Yeah, it's quite easy to answer because in my point of view, AWS has almost 300 dedicated specific services, and it's really nice to use them for your architectures as you need them. And I worked, for instance, with Hetzner and had really a look, and also, for instance, to the object storage of other cloud provider. But they have S3 compatible storage as well. But they have just the object storage, and that's it. On AWS side, when I start saying now or telling what AWS S3 offers, lifecycle rules, storage tiers, Glacier in various combinations, everything around the integration to static website hosting, CloudFront, it's endless. And this service integration, so not just the count of services, but also the integration together, it is unique on AWS. And also the developer experience, if you are skilled and trained on AWS, it's you know this, you like this, you can really build cheap infrastructures. When you build something on Hetzner, on servers, it's still servers. You have to take care on operating system, on virtualization layer, on patching, on everything. But yeah, this is then a question what the company wants to achieve. So if I lift and shift my servers from on-prem, and I do no longer want to have it on-prem due to various reasons, then for sure I can go to a server hoster. If I want to have real cloud native software, then I think you have to go to one of the hyperscalers.
Okay, interesting. Pretty good answer.
Yeah.
If I run today, in AWS EU regions, how I move or extend into the ESC, greenfield, redeploy, or what is the steps I need to do?
Yeah. So the first question would be, it would be really interesting on how customers adapt. Yeah. So what is right now in AWS maybe can stay there, because the new European Sovereign Cloud will be around 15 to 20% more expensive. It might depend on service. We do not know this. And also in the European Sovereign Cloud, we have many services at the beginning available, but not all. So there are some services existing like Macy, but also others which are not existing in the European Sovereign Cloud from day on, from day one. So this would be the question. Is it required? For sure, there will be solutions, I'm pretty sure, and not just from you, also from US companies, pretty sure, in the European Sovereign Cloud. Yeah, many questions are open. For instance, also the marketplace. Yeah, I think I have read that also a marketplace will exist in the USC, but it will be for sure completely separated. And then the discussion continues. If a US company, SaaS company, providing some monitoring frameworks, is offering something in the ESC, then the whole idea with the US separation is maybe not good. So it will be really interesting. But coming to your specific question now, if you want to, it's a completely separated partition. So if you want to have something there, it is like, as I mentioned, it is not like from Azure or from GCP to AWS, because the stuff is already maybe in CloudFormation available, or in CDK or in Terraform. And if this is the case, it is relatively easy to redeploy from scratch what you have in this cloud in the other cloud. You might need to change for sure the DNS stuff, and some additional tweaks are required. We also need to see if from day one the European Sovereign Cloud is fully supported from Terraform, from everything. But yeah, this is possible. If you want to have, then you need to take care on the data migration for sure. Once it's deployed there, you need to migrate the data. We need to see if you really have to pay fee. Typically, you have to pay for egress. I'm not sure if AWS will really, if it's required to pay it, if you go from the normal to the ESC, because when you go away from AWS, for instance, to GCP or to Azure, you also do not need to pay this egress fee. Since 2 years, I think we had the change. So this is still open. Many things are open. But yeah. What will be interesting, definitely, and I have seen on the AWS Community Day a few weeks ago a use case, if there are combinations existing. For instance, coming back to the outage we had 2 days ago in the global partition, we wouldn't have this with the ESC. So is it wise to build on one hyperscaler on AWS, but on both partitions? Some applications, yeah. Is it required? We will see. I think it depends. But yeah, this will be interesting, I think, for all of us on how it will be used.
Definitely true. Was not funny the last 2 days, or for AWS especially, but I think they managed it and handled it pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Exactly. One interesting thing is, let's talk about money. With the billing, euro billing, and possible service gaps at the start, maybe. How do we keep cost under control? Is there any FinOps tips for the first year when it's coming up? Or would you say there's something that will be shown in the very beginning? There's no plan for today.
I think for the cost control and cost monitoring, the stuff will exist as today. So it is possible. It is existing, but you need to enable it for sure. But this is then part of the best practice configuration. Yeah, you need to set up your budgets, for instance, and this is every customer or the AWS partner for the customer, as it's often the case in Germany, has to take care of this stuff. I think we really need to see. I think it is still not clear when the ESC will be announced. So what is clear is it will be end of 2025. So this year. This is clear. I think AWS will release it this year, but nobody knows. Will it be at reInvent? Will it be maybe on the last day on Sylvester, right? We will exactly see. And I'm pretty sure that especially in the beginning, in the first weeks, adoption is required. It is definitely required. It's completely new. Think on the FinOps tools, like for the cost management, like the Cloud Checker we as Ingram Micro have, or the VMware Cloud has, or the other FinOps SaaS services, I'm pretty sure they won't all support from day one the stuff. And the same is for the monitoring systems, and the other SaaS integrations we have, the managed security offerings. I think this is really something which needs time to adaptation. Some vendors are quicker, already working on this. I think I have seen there are also some launch partner, not the launch partners for the European Sovereign Cloud, but also services, SaaS launch partners available. But yeah, I think we will see. And for sure, it's clear to everybody if there's something new in the beginning, everybody needs to learn, needs to understand the consequences. The billing from AWS will come from another email address. For instance, the small things, things will be different. And also in terms of funding, for instance, we do not know if all funding programs which AWS has right now will be applicable for the European Sovereign Cloud as well. So this is all in question. But what I can tell is that AWS is working with high pressure with many persons to sort this out in the next weeks.
Yeah, so we have a date, end of the year. So that's great.
Yes.
Let's go to the last two topics. Myth busting, quick round. I will read a short myth and give me your quick response. Pretty short, Sovereign Cloud is just marketing.
No.
Great, That's on the point. Data residency is the same as sovereignty?
No, it's part of.
A foreign law will always break my controls anyway.
Not as easy to answer. I think in the beginning, so what we have so far, it is true. I think what we will have with the ESC, what we have heard and what AWS promises, it will no longer be the case. No.
Okay. Great. Simple action plan next 90 days in Q1 2026. If I am a CIO or head of a platform, what are the 3 simple steps to start now? We are in January 26 with ESC.
Not completely easy to answer. So what I can tell is we as Ingram Micro are working with many AWS partners, also in Germany. And we have, I think, 4 or 5 of the AWS partners, of our partners as well, are ESC launch partners. So they already have the knowledge in-house to support here. And I would really recommend, if you are a CIO from a customer, so not AWS partner, and you are not as big as the enterprises are, that you do not have the expertise you need to oversee this whole with the compliance and governance aspects internally. So I would really recommend you to reach out to AWS partner. Come to me. I will link you with the launch partners from the ESC and have a discussion on your plans. It is not just technically, it's cloud strategy, right? It's really what is required for your business to be successful, that it aligns with your business plans. It's a bigger picture.
Definitely. That's a good point. Great. We have done it. Tobias, thank you very much. Very nice insights, helpful insights, and hopefully you enjoyed also the session.
Yeah, was quite nice. Thanks for inviting me again, Mario. And cool topic. I really like the topic. I'm talking about the topic quite often these days. And at the AWS user group in Dresden, I also already get an invite that I also have my talk about the European Sovereign Cloud. And yeah, I think there's many persons are interesting, and I really hope, and from what I have heard so far, that AWS is doing it right this time with the sovereignty cloud for Europe. Many competitors did it wrong multiple times. We all know this, and I think it's really important for us, for Europe, that we have such a thing existing. And I do not talk about server hosters, but the AWS services and its service integration we all like and we all need.
That's a good end Thank you very much once again. Thank you
Yep.
for the summaries. Thank you for being here. And to the community, if you enjoyed this episode, check the description. We will drop all the links there, also the blog of Tobias and so on. Or want me to cover a specific topic next week, feel free to contact me via LinkedIn or drop me a message. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week and see you soon. Bye-bye.